The story begins in the past, where Gaius is fighting a powerful dragon. During this battle, he becomes deeply dissatisfied with the limitations of his first crest. He mentally reviews the abilities of the other 3 crests, realizing that his current one is fundamentally inadequate for the power he desires. Gaius makes a drastic decision. He casts a reincarnation spell on himself so that he can be reborn in the future with the crest he truly wanted. In the present era, Gaius has been reborn as a young boy named Mathias. Unlike his previous life, he now possesses the 4th crest. While traveling to the capital on a wagon to take the entrance exam for the academy, Mathias senses the presence of a kilometer-ranked monster nearby. The wagon driver initially ignores Mathias' warning, believing it to be nonsense. However, a massive tiger-like monster soon appears and confronts them. Mathias immediately defeats it with ease, leaving the driver completely shocked by his strength. After arriving in the capital, Mathias enters a weapon shop, where he witnesses Alma desperately asking the shop owner Baze to repair her friend's broken magical sword. Baze refuses, insisting that repairing it is impossible. Impressed by the weapons in the shop, Mathias overhears their conversation. When Alma asks for a new sword, he offers to enchant it for her. Despite being told that her crest is inadequate for such a process, Alma still insists and even provides her own magistone for the enchantment. Baze tries to stop her from trusting Mathias, but Alma believes in him. They sit together and introduce themselves, with Mathias asking to be called Mati instead of Mathias. Shortly after, Luri arrives, and Alma introduces her to Mati. Once Baze finishes preparing Luri's sword, Mati enchants it instantly, without chanting. When Luri tries it out, she accidentally slices the table in half, shocking everyone. Even though Mati claims it was only a simple enchantment, Baze realizes that he did it incredibly fast and without any chant. He offers to make Mati an enchanter, but Mati immediately refuses. On the day of the entrance exam, Mati meets Alma and Luri again. Luri successfully passes the combat test. Mati then faces Guile, who recognizes his father's name and says he wants to see how well Mathias' father taught him swordsmanship. The duel begins, but Mati easily defeats him by using magical enhancements on his sword during the fight. Next comes the magic accuracy test. Luri, using her first crest, successfully hits all the targets. Mati reflects on how flawed the modern understanding of crests really is, because of the 4th crest's limited range. He instead casts a massive fireball spell, leaving behind a gigantic crater in the middle of the test field. After passing, Mati wears his academy uniform and attends the opening ceremony with Alma and Luri, the headmaster. Edward gives a speech and then asks Mati to come to his office afterward. Mati becomes nervous, assuming he will be expelled for destroying the exam grounds earlier, even though he repaired them using his magic instead of punishing him. Edward praises his achievements and does not question how he could perform such feats. He then asks Mati for help. The academy curriculum strictly rejects chantless spellcasting, teaching only spells that require chanting. However, because of the upcoming inter-school competition, Edward wants Mati to become a teacher who can train students in chantless spellcasting. Mati accepts this role later. Mati demonstrates chantless magic in front of the academy students. Another teacher named Geisel assists with the demonstration. In the evening, Alma shows Mati that she has learned how to cast spells without chanting. Because Luri's mana runs low, Mati transfers some of his own magic power to her. With this support, Luri successfully destroys a target using a chantless spell. On the day of the competition, Mati senses the presence of a demon somewhere inside the arena. He confronts Devilis, who is disguised as a human and possesses a 1st crest, along with his subordinates. Mati instantly defeats the subordinates with a single spell. He provokes Devilis into using near-chantless magic, gradually confirming his suspicion that the demons are purposely trying to weaken human magic systems. Using a spellbreaker, Mati dispels Devilis' human disguise. Once exposed, the demon attempts to escape, but Mati defeats him before he can get away. While the students and faculty gather around the dead body of Devilis, Luri hugs Mati for defeating the disguised demon. Later, at the royal castle, Mati and Edward meet with the king. The king considers granting Mati a fief, but decides against it due to potential panic over demons infiltrating human society. Instead, the king grants Mati all rights to possessions gained within the dungeon. The king asks Mati about the disappearance of the 4 magical chosen ones and notes that demons have slowly infiltrated human society. Over the centuries, Mati recalls that in his past life, he nearly exterminated the demons. But the remaining ones spread magical misinformation, weakening humans' powers. While the king believes the demon threat is resolved, Mati warns that demons might prepare an all-out attack within 3 months. He suggests creating a kingdom-wide barrier using a divine-class artifact and the help of all second-year students, which could be completed within a month. The king appoints Mati as leader of the fight against demons in the castle treasury. Mati finds a magical sword and a pendant he created in his past life, the latter increasing experience gained from battle. Outside, Mati oversees students practicing chantless magic. Luri and Alma approach him about the barrier, and he confirms his plan, surprising them. Mati decides to have them join his party to explore a dungeon and collect the necessary items. Initially hesitant, due to their perceived lack of combat skills, the two agree after Mati gives tips on archery and enchantment magic. At the dungeon, Mati uses a small monster for target practice, so Luri can practice her enchanted archery. Once she masters the basics of the thread-guided chant, she is tasked with killing 2 monsters with a single arrow. Meanwhile, Mati teaches how to filter and compound dungeon ores into metals, producing mithril and iron clusters, and promises to teach her to craft enchanted weapons. Luri successfully kills 3 monsters with a single arrow, using her new skill, regrouping. Mati announces they will test their skills on the 10th floor of the dungeon. On the way, Luri and Alma excel in combat, gaining enhanced experience due to Mati's pendant. They face and defeat a killer dog through cooperative teamwork. Afterward, Mati sets up camp and briefly explores deeper dungeon floors. He discovers adamantite and encounters a boss monster, the Arc Serpent, on a lower floor. The battle is difficult, but Mati defeats it. To demons sense the massive magical burst, but dismiss it, assuming humans cannot wield such power. Returning to Luri and Alma, Mati shows them the corpse of the defeated boss, shocking them. Mati, Luri, and Alma visit the local adventurers guild to turn in the goods they collected from the dungeon. The receptionist mistakes Mati for the party's porter, but he clarifies he is carrying his own materials and summons the severed head of the Arc Serpent from his inventory. Outside, the receptionist appraises the head and the Magistone from the boss monster. Although impressive, Mati notes, it is too small to power the kingdom's protective barrier. Despite the guild claiming insufficient funds, the party earns 750 gold dot on the walk back to the academy. Mati then senses 2 powerful demons, which Luri and Alma also detect. In the sky, demons Ashral and Deshral plan an attack on the Royal Academy. Mati gauges their power, and the group splits. Mati will face Ashral, while Luri and Alma confront Deshral during the battle. Mati deflects a fire spell from Ashral, using his magic control spheres, and hurls it back. Deshral tries to attack Mati, but is struck by Luri's arrows, which weaken him. Ashral attempts a massive spell, but Mati destroys it with a precise fireball. He corners Ashral using scattered control spheres, eventually encapsulating him in an occlusion orb, canceling his sacrificial spell to summon monsters. Meanwhile, Luri and Alma's guerrilla tactics overwhelm Deshral, and Mati steps in to finish him off. Though victorious, the battle draws attention from city onlookers, prompting Mati to use a levitation spell to escape with the girls. The next day, Mati, Edward, Luri, and Alma meet the king, who offers a reward for their success. Mati requests access to more dungeons, which the king grants. Luri and Alma request money as their reward. During the meeting, Mati detects a demon spy observing them. When the demon refuses to reveal itself, Mati disrupts its magical feed, causing him pain. The king identifies the voice as Elhart, a former captain of the Magic Order. Using the coordinates from the spell, Mati determines the location is a ruined village. Though distant, he has a backup plan to reach it quickly. The party travels to the desolate location, while Edward and the academy students prepare 1.5 tons of mithril for the barrier. There, they encounter a giant black dragon, revealed to be Iris, an old acquaintance of Mati. After repairing her damaged wings, Iris allows the party to ride on her back, flying at a controlled speed to ensure safety. Upon reaching the ruined village, Mati quickly defeats the demons stationed at the watchtower, leaving Luri, Alma, and Iris in shock. Mati senses 2 magical presences, one being Elhart, a minor threat, and another stronger one. While contemplating, Iris crashes into a small tower due to her poor landing skills. Inside the tower, Matty establishes telepathic communication with Luri and Alma, and gives Alma a casting circle to attack. They detect a concealed demon in a corner, and Luri shoots it with a thread chant arrow. Revealing Matty as a fake, the demon attacks Matty while the girls fire enchanted arrows, causing the demon's magical power to The demon uses Disfortune, growing stronger at the cost of its lifespan, but Luri ultimately finishes it with a headshot. Matty reveals the demon's name as Elhart. Matty instructs Luri and Elma to ride. While he faces the final demon, he prepares by crushing Magistones to create a magical calamity, forcing the demon from its mist form. The demon initially gains the upper hand and severs Matty's left arm, offering him a choice in death. Matty surprises the demon by reattaching his arm, revealing it was imbued with healing and analysis spells. He then strikes the demon's right wrist. The demon casts Magic Circuit Overload, shrouding the area in mist, but Matty cancels it. The demon explodes, leaving behind a giant magic. Luri joins Matty, and he explains that the Magistone is a dragon vein, designed by the demons to spawn roughly 5,000 monsters targeting the capital. The last explosion shifted the spawn point by 10 kilometers. The group rides back to the capital on Iris' back. Matty suggests Iris join the academy using her human transformation spell. She hesitates but ultimately agrees, transforming into a human. That night, they report their spoils to Eve, who praises Matty. Matty requests Iris be admitted to the academy, and Edward agrees on the condition that she passes an entrance exam within a score range of 47 to 50. Matty will oversee the exam to ensure she controls her magical output. Alma asks why Matty omitted mentioning the monster horde to Edward, and Matty explains he will reveal it after Iris passes. He also gives Iris a fake second crest mark, similar to Devilis. On exam day, Iris performs poorly on the written section, knocks her sword-fighting opponent into the roof tower, and casts backfiring spells during the magic casting portion, ultimately destroying the magical target ground. Despite this, Iris passes the exam. In the dungeon where the students of the Second Royal Academy excavated, Matty received an update from Edward. The most efficient crest for the task, the Crest of Glory, was scarce due to the First Royal Academy holding a monopoly over them. Matty asked if it was possible to request assistance from the First Royal Academy students. Edward agreed to honor it for the sake of the mission. Soon, Facus, head of the First Royal Academy, abruptly entered Edward's room, chastising him for the summons. When Edward reminded him that no hierarchy existed between the academies, Facus dismissed the Second Royal Academy as inferior, giving Matty a flashback of his older brother. Edward ignored the insults and requested Facus's help in erecting a barrier to protect the kingdom from the approaching demons. Facus refused, still clinging to the notion of hierarchy. Matty then proposed a competition to settle the matter. Facus agreed on the condition that Matty and his party would not participate, calling Matty a monster. Despite Edward's hesitance, Matty accepted, and the competition was set for 2 days later. On the day of the competition, a large group from the First Royal Academy faced the mere 5 students of the Second Royal Academy. At the start of the make-up interim battle, the First Academy began chanting fire arrow spells, only for the Second Academy students to surprise them with chantless magic, overwhelming their opponents and winning easily. Refusing to accept the outcome, Facus claimed all 5 students were monsters. Edward countered that none of the Second Academy students' abilities were significantly superior. Facus demanded proof, insisting that Iris participate. Iris admitted she had no weapon, so Matty gave her Edward's sword. The moment she unsheathed it, she bent the blade like soft wire, causing Facus to lose composure and call her a monster. Edward then questioned why First Academy students still used incanted magic despite the king's orders for chantless casting. The king then appeared and confronted Facus about his disobedience. Exposed as a traitor, Facus was seized by guards, screaming curses at the Second Academy. The king ordered the First Academy students to work with the Second Royal and learn chantless magic. Later, Matty, Iris, Alma, and Luri explored the deeper dungeon caverns. Their goal was to obtain a 60-centimeter Magistone, which required summoning a monster. The girls fought dungeon monsters while Matty evaluated them, noting Iris's poor control over her strength. Once they acquired an adequate Magistone, Luri cast a circle around it with Matty's assistance. Iris infused it with magic, but overpowered it, summoning a giant dragon. Following Matty's orders, Iris distracted the dragon, while Luri enchanted an arrow and Alma fired it. The attack failed, but Maddie continued setting up additional casting circles. When the dragon attacked the girls, Iris punched it away to protect them. Eventually, Iris provoked the dragon into casting a breath spell, which Maddie captured and reflected back at it. The plan almost failed when Iris fell into a pit she had created, but Maddie raised a barrier to protect her, taking the brunt of the spell himself and remaining unharmed. After Iris retrieved the Magic Stone, Maddie officially invited her to join the party. With Iris now officially in the party, Maddie had her train in the ruined grounds to adapt to her human body. Her first challenge was to protect a shell on her head, while dodging Alma's arrows with minimal movement. Meanwhile, Luri was tasked with forging weapons and armor to improve her enchanting skills. Mati requested a layered sword for himself. Following his instructions, Alma crafted the sword, and Iris trained to dodge the arrows while keeping the shell intact. The party tested the new weapons, Luri with a sword, Alma with a bow, and Iris with a spear. With everything proceeding smoothly, Mati noted that his time at the Second Royal Academy would soon come to an end. Edward addressed the students of the Second Royal Academy, formally explaining that Mati had successfully cast a barrier over the kingdom. It was now the students' responsibility to protect the capital by fighting the invading monsters and demons. Meanwhile, the remaining students assisted Mati in clearing the dungeon for resources. Alma and Luri reported detecting demonic presence, which Mati identified as demons and instructed them to handle it. Following the lead of an unnamed student, they reached the site and, having time to prepare, Alma and Luri followed Mati's instructions. They imbued special metal arrows with their chosen magic, astonishing the observing student. When a single demon emerged from the Megarode portal, Alma killed it with one arrow. Another demon appeared, and after Alma's shot failed, Luri finished it off with her sword. Encouraged by their success, they sensed a surge of energy from the capital. Mati reassured them that everything was within his expectations, explaining that the energy came from a spell more advanced than Megarode. Before the next wave of demons arrived, Mati sent the girls to the surface to prepare. Iris appeared, delivering 40 boxes of mithril for Mati. Luri and Alma met with Edward, who informed them that Mati had provided an abundance of magistones for casting circles. A single demon appeared, casting a spell at the students, but it was blocked by one of Mati's precast defenses. Under Edward's orders, students tried to attack the demon. Alma shot an arrow, which the demon caught and broke. With Luri's hands full creating enchanted arrows, the students empowered Mati's defensive spells. Luri completed an imbued arrow and gave it to Alma, who redirected it to strike the demon's heart. Additional fireball spells from the students finished it off. Their victory was short-lived, as a stronger demon appeared, casting a more powerful spell. With Mati's protective spell absent and surrounded by demons, hope seemed lost, but Alma continued to buy time. Mati then arrived and effortlessly defeated all the demons. Later, Mati joined Edward, Alma, and Luri. He credited Luri's sword for the victory and revealed that the barrier was complete. At the barrier crystal, Mati inserted a magistone, erecting the protective shield around the city. He warned, however, that the demons they defeated would empower the dragon vein. A stampede of monsters soon appeared on the horizon. They were managed with Mati's battlefield traps and the students' combined spells. 3 giant monsters emerged, handled by Luri, Alma, and Iris. A monster called the Void Eater appeared, consuming surrounding monsters. Mati provided Luri with a casting circle to enchant and throw into the Void Eater. Once evolved, the combined efforts of Mati, Iris, Luri, and Alma defeated it. Mati later reported to Edward his plan to leave the academy to search for more dragon veins, although there was nothing left for him to learn, and the academy did not want to expel him. Edward offered him a special scholarship to maintain connection with the academy. Mati accepted, and the offer was extended to Luri, Alma, and Iris. Once prepared for their journey, the group was seen off by Edward and their fellow students. Mati and his party left the capital, heading toward the Melchia dungeon, a city-based dungeon. Luri explained to Iris what a city dungeon was, surprising Mati since such a place hadn't existed in his past life. Luri estimated a day's travel, but Iris stated they would reach it by night. Luri asked if they would pass through the forest of Chikirazubia, known for its strong monsters, including one unusually intelligent, which intrigued Mati, despite Luri and Alma's concern, while traveling through the forest. The group decided to have lunch. Matias suggested hunting rather than using their supplies, and noticed that nearby monsters were moving in a coordinated manner. Concluding they were following orders from the intelligent monster, Matias was ambushed by a white ape monster, which he killed and returned to the group. Luri identified it as a Wizza monkey, known for its intelligence. Matias also hunted a giant boar, delighting the ravenous Iris. The group prepared boar meat, but Elma accidentally ruined her attempt at soup. Despite that, they enjoyed the roasted meat. Sensing that the forest monsters were avoiding them after the Wizza monkey encounter, Matias suggested moving onward. By dusk, they reached Melchia. The city appeared seedy, though its magical lampposts fascinated the group. A merchant warned them to avoid the lampposts, which promptly exploded. He explained that the new lord forbade using magistones for power, and the merchant mentioned a powerful 10th-floor dungeon monster as part of the reason. After buying for apples, the group explored the city and headed to the Adventurers Guild for dungeon permits. The receptionist explained that lordly approval was required, but Matias insisted on starting the process. Suddenly, another receptionist rushed in, seeking anyone who could heal injured adventurers. Matias volunteered, and the group was led to the local church, shocked by the number of injured and lack of healers. They learned the Lord had fired most healers to save money. Matias triaged the injured using a wooden tablet and demonstrated his healing abilities, impressing the head healer and saving everyone with his crest. Matias learned the previous Lord had been replaced by an incompetent one, possibly a demon, and resolved to meet the Lord eventually. That night at the inn, Matias composed a letter to Ed Ward and planned to investigate the dungeon. The next day, using their newly granted permits, they arrived at the dungeon gate, noting its flimsy construction, which made it vulnerable to monsters. After entering, they reported subjugating the 10th-floor monster. The receptionist informed them they would be paid later, pending confirmation from the Lord, who received a letter about the party and became interested in them. Later, at a restaurant, Matias noticed a suspicious group watching them. They followed the party back to the inn. While Matias planned to uncover the truth about the corrupt Lord, Matias and his party took a detour through a side street to avoid being followed by the Lord's henchmen. Telepathically, he instructed Alma and Luri to stay calm while he gauged the intentions of their tailors. When the group vanished, using a concealment spell, the henchmen searched in vain until Matias appeared before them, asking for directions to the inn. One man inadvertently revealed the inn's location, prompting him to capture Matias with a chain rope and threaten him. Alma and Luri struggled to suppress laughter at the situation. Matias remained composed, instructing Iris to intervene without using weapons. Iris efficiently defeated the men, and Matias cast tracking and demon-sensing spells on them to ensure no lingering threats. The following day, the group received a message from the king. Meeting the king's messenger, Ike in a mine tunnel, were informed that Lord Dokil Melchia was to be arrested for illegal exploration of the mines. Matias was authorized to perform the arrest under Ike's supervision, and Alma, Iris, and Luri agreed to assist. At Melchia's manor, no guards were outside, though inside was heavily defended. The group charged in, and Luri's barrier protected them from a spell barrage, while Matias countered with a lightning attack that incapacitated the attackers. They located the Lord in a hidden basement, where he mistakenly assumed his men had defeated Matias' party. Summoning more men, Melchia was easily overwhelmed by Matias' fire spells. Ike then read Melchia his rights, but the Lord protested, claiming Matias was too young to judge him. Matias knocked him out with a snap of his fingers, leaving Ike to deliver him to the king. Investigating further, Matias found a burnt piece of paper detailing an ongoing corruption investigation and deduced a demon was behind it. Before Ike could leave, the ground trembled, signaling the demons had begun channeling their magic into the vein. The group hurried into the dungeon. Inside they found no demons, leading Matias to suspect a trap in the deeper levels. They located the dragon vein behind a wall. Matias descended to confront the demons while the girls worked to purify the vein. Using a communication spell, Matias stayed in contact with Luri as he fought his way through monsters to the lower levels, confronting a demon. Matias wiretapped its communications with another demon and discovered that the opposing demon was aware of his plans. He attacked with his magically enhanced sword, but the demon's barrier blocked it. Observing the tactics used against someone with a crest of failure, Matias instructed Luri to activate casting circles 14 and 17. These nullified the trap's power and disrupted the demon's communications. Exploiting a weakness in the barrier, Matias pressed the attack. The demon boss ordered the use of disfortune, but Mati prevailed, decapitating the demon. With the demon destroyed, the outside monster horde dissipated as Iris and Alma dealt with their respective threats, attempting to locate the boss demon. Mati discovered it had hacked into his communication channel, using a decoy location near Alenia. The demon eventually severed communication, leaving Mati eager for their next confrontation. Mati's group camped inside a cave, discussing their next move, tracking down the head demon who had commanded the one Mati fought earlier. Using a magical signature stored in a magistone, Mati planned to pinpoint the mastermind's location. When Luri and Alma asked how he could do such a thing, Mati explained it was a skill he had learned 1,000. The group eventually returned to the Second Royal Academy and were surprised to find it. Under reconstruction, Edward explained the rebuilding was to better withstand a demon attack, and that classes would be held at the First Royal Academy. In the meantime, the First Royal Academy students were also assisting with the construction. In a log cabin serving as Edward's makeshift office, Mati detailed the situation with the demon in the mine and their plan to pursue the mastermind across the border. Edward agreed to support them, promising to get the guild's cooperation and the king's official permit. Until approval arrived, Mati's group helped with the construction, though Iris inadvertently caused some trouble. Once granted their permit and the king's voucher, the group crossed the border toward the Redina alliance. Mati noted that their destination was a restricted area, requiring them to attain rank A to gain access. To achieve this, they would have to complete a ranking test from the local guild. Mati also planned to use Iris in her true form as a contingency distraction. Upon arriving in the Redina Alliance city, they visited the guild, where the guildmaster, aware of their mission from the king, permitted them to attempt the rank A ascension test. The assigned proctor was ill, so S-ranked guild member Giloaz took over despite the guildmaster's protests. On the training grounds, Giloaz passed Alma, Luri, and Iris easily, but challenged Mati to a duel. Mati accepted, with the duel ending only when one conceded or was KO'd. Giloaz admitted he didn't use magic actively, though enhancement magic subtly aided him. The duel began, with Mati using enhancement magic himself and matching Gilead's blow for blow while analyzing his abilities. In the end, Mati applied a bit more enhancement magic to overpower Giloaz, forcing him to concede. Mati gifted Giloaz a spellcasting textbook he had written, explaining that not all spells required chanting, and that learning conscious spellcasting could make him much stronger, though Giloaz struggled to read Dot. After parting, Mati declined to pursue S-rank status, explaining their sole goal was to access a highly restricted area. Elis, familiar with the area and its strange aura, offered his help, which Mati accepted. At the checkpoint, the group received a wooden pass granting entry. Although they passed without issue, Mati noticed a hidden message, clearly the work of demons, suggesting their influence over Fokia was extensive. He also spotted a gang of ambushers nearby. Instead of engaging directly, Mati devised a plan using a sleeping agent. He split the group Iris, and he would confront the ambushers, while Luri and Alma set up the agent. Mati's plan succeeded, though both Luri and Alma accidentally fell under the agent's effects themselves. Before Mati wakes them, Iris draws on Alma's face, which upsets her. Reaching their destination, Luri senses roughly 30 faint demonic presences scattered across the city. Mati explains that the feeling is weak due to a concealment spell around the city. Surprised, Luri and Alma note that demons typically don't work in groups, but Mati clarifies that dimidmans do. When they ask what a dimidman is, Mati explains its background. The group finds a secret entryway leading to an underground tunnel into the city and enters it. Sensing a dimidman ahead, Mati phases through a wall and uses a stupefy spell to temporarily blind its senses, allowing the group to pass undetected. On the surface, Mati reveals that the townsfolk are affected by a spell called thought paralysis, similar to stupefaction, to learn more about the demon's plans. The group infiltrates a factory where a demon disguised as a human checks anyone entering with the thought paralysis spell. Mati casts an anti-thought paralysis on the group, instructing them to act as if they were under its effect. Iris trips and falls, causing the demon checking her to overestimate the spell's effect, which degrades its power. Inside the factory, they discover workers putting rankin magical ore into furnaces. Mati deduces the demons are refining the ore to make explosives, warning that even a ton of 100% pure could destroy an entire kingdom outside the factory. The group resolves to eliminate the demons controlling the city, using a map of demon locations They determine the demons entered from the city center and communicate telepathically. Mati plans to use their teamwork against them. He creates a large pillar of light in the city, alerting the demons, who are ordered by the head demigmen to investigate. As the demons converge, Mati and his group begin picking them off. Flashback reveals Iris was positioned at the Pillar of Light center to lure the demons away from the city center. After 8 of the 30 demons are eliminated, Mati increases the pressure. He uses Magistones as makeshift bombs to spread misinformation through the demigmen's shared consciousness, tricking them into thinking traps are scattered across the city. Luri and Alma cast concealment magic on themselves. Once the 22nd demigmen is defeated, the head demigmen examines a fallen demon and notes 2 people were present. Demons consolidate in one location, realizing there are no traps, and the head demigmen orders them to use the Magistones to destroy the city. Before they can act, Giluas appears and eliminates the demigmens along with the head demigmen, while Mati, with Iris's help, takes out the remaining demons. Giluas then faces the head demigmen in a strenuous battle and defeats it. Unbeknownst to the group, however, the head demigmen is down, but not truly defeated. The demon that Giluas defeated regains consciousness and attempts to attack Luri and Alma, but Mati intercepts and blocks the strike. Surprised by this, the defeated demon acts as a proxy for the mastermind demon, delivering a message to Mati that its seal will soon be destroyed and it will fully revive. Its host demon then disintegrates into dust. At that moment, Giluas calls for help. Mati heals him, and Luri and Alma notice that with the demons defeated, all the town residents have been freed from the thought paralysis spell. Giluas uses his authority to stabilize the city, appointing the factory foreman as the provisional lord at the city's front gate. Giluas grants Mati a permit to enter Phokia's restricted area, and the group parts ways with him. Upon reaching their destination, Mati opens an entryway and leaps into the pit below to enter the ruins. Once inside, he splits the group to search for weapons, while Iris heads off to gather food. Mati begins powering the ruins' core. Luri returns with a sword he had created in a previous life, and Alma brings a heavy spear for Iris, which Mati rejects due to its magical properties. Iris comes back with a box of preserved foods, though the preservation spell had expired over time. With the ruins' core fully charged, it is used to track the mastermind demon's location with help from a component from the factory. Mati deduces that the demon's goal is to annihilate humanity. Using a Magistone, they gain more information about the demon. Learning its name is Zardius. At their current strength, they are unable to defeat it. Iris laments the lack of adequate weaponry, which inspires Mati. Using Luri's sword, he searches for other magical items that could aid them, particularly a specific sword located in the Kingdom of Eyes. While traveling to the kingdom on Iris' back, Mati gives Luri and Alma Magistones to locate the sword. An outburst of magical power alerts the group that Zardius' seal has been broken. Turney orders Luri and Alma to retrieve the sword while he prepares to confront Zardius. He enchants his sword and attempts to seal the space Zardius might use to teleport, hoping to buy time or inflict damage. When Zardius opens a portal, Mati tries to seal it, but fails. Iris unleashes her dragonfire breath, which proves ineffective. Zardius draws a sword and slashes at Iris, who narrowly dodges thanks to Mati's multiple barriers. Zardius overpowers Mati, who realizes this is the most powerful demon he has faced. Meanwhile, Luri and Alma reach the treasury, but the guards block their entry, requiring the king's permission. The king arrives, hears Luri's explanation, and grants them access. Outside, Mati continues to struggle against Zardius, recognizing that defeating the demon may require him to sacrifice his own life. Luri and Alma retrieve the sword Mati needs from the treasury, while Mati struggles against Zardius, who is fully aware of Mati's plans and reveals he has subordinates already inside the city's barrier. This is confirmed when Ashril and Deshril are shown to have been revived by Zardius. Deshril is defeated, but Ashril holds 2 student hostages and demands that Luri and Alma surrender and hand over the treasure they recovered. Mati continues battling Zardius, who attempts to break the city's barrier. Edward arrives with a group of students, allowing the girls to counterattack. The students bind Ashril in a magical ring. Mati attempts a sneak attack on Zardius, using Iris as a feint, but the plan fails. Iris lands on the city below, and Elma throws the sword to Mati.Zardi as fatally stabs him in the back. But the sword's special ability revives Mati and infuses him with immense magical power. With this newfound strength, Mati defeats who warns him of another chaos demon before disintegrating on the ground. Mati is embraced by Luri and soon joined by Alma, Iris, Edward, and the accompanying students. He offers to rebuild the city's damaged areas and uses the remaining power in his sword, inadvertently creating a giant hole in a mountain. Time passes, and a nearly fully recovered Mati is visited by Iris, Luri, and Alma in his room. Together with Edward, they thank the king for allowing them access to the treasury again. The king expresses his gratitude for their defeat of Zardius and rewards them with the sword from the treasury and another treasure. While inspecting the treasury, Iris finds an adamantine arrow, and Mati inquires about a matching bow. The guard explains it was rusted and sold to a company called Isis. At the company, the group learns the bow was melted and mixed with other metals. Mati purchases the metals to abstract rare resources and also buys 2 gems for Iris and Luri. Outside, Edward warns the group of an emergency. Guile briefs them about a wooden puppet from the neighboring country Sea, likely powered by human energy and created by demons. Believing Seahill is under demon control, Guile requests Mati travel there to address the problem. That night, Mati gifts Luri a pendant he made, which she adores. The following day, Mati and the group are seen off by Edward and Guile as they set out for Sea. En route, Mati reflects briefly on Zardia's warning about other chaos demons, but remains undaunted, ready to continue their adventure.